Hello, welcome everyone. Welcome to like a new episode of Far From Home, a talk with a friend abroad. We are back in Malta with our guest and friend Nazlee. So welcome and thank you for being with us this afternoon.
Thank you very much for inviting me onto your show for today. Thank you.
Welcome. And the first question is actually, I think you have a pretty interesting story and how you ended up in Malta. How was your journey before coming to Malta and then the first years in Malta?
All right, thank you. So I'm originally from Zimbabwe, and when I was 29 years old, we left Zimbabwe and moved to the UK. That was with my husband and my then 10-year-old son. We decided that we wanted to give him a better future, and things weren't really working out well economically and financially in the country. Little did we know how it was going to turn, and it actually became worse over time. But we made the move, we made that decision, and we moved to the UK, and we were there for 15 years. And then there's a couple of times we traveled around Europe. We went to Spain, we went to Portugal, and then we came to Malta. And we really, really liked Malta, and it resonated with us. We didn't realize at the time how similar it actually was to Zimbabwe, but there was just something about Malta that we fell in love with. And we tell people quite often that Malta is like Marmite. You either love it or hate it. You know, there's really no in between, but we really, really loved it. We went back after a holiday, and then my husband must have been about 45 at the time. And he started thinking, you know, and saying to me, by the time I'm 50, we should be in the place where we want to retire. Let's not wait until we're 65 and start thinking, where do we want to move? What do we need to do? Are we going to leave our jobs, you know, now at this age? So for 2 years we planned, and the country we had chosen was Malta. We did think about moving back to Zimbabwe, but the political and financial situation wasn't that stable. People are resilient. They're amazing. They're survivors. They still, you know, follow with their faith, and they believe in God, and they help each other. But because we weren't in the country for so long, we felt that it might be difficult for us to go back 15 years later. So we settled on Malta. I initially came on my own, and I started working for the British High Commissioner. And that was almost 5 years ago. I came in September 2015. And then my husband and my son followed soon after. So that's how we ended up in Malta. And the reason why we decided to move from the UK is, as much as we were settled there, we felt that we were just living on autopilot. We would, you know, travel into London on the train. So it was an hour and a half in the morning, then an hour and a half in the evening. So that was 3 hours of your day traveling. And that was on a good day. You know, if there was snow, or if there was rain, or if it was too hot, or if there were leaves, you'd have delays. And I remember coming home, it must have been 2014. It was just before Christmas. And I left work at 5 o'clock in London, and I traveled home. And I walked through the door at about 10 o'clock in the evening. I was exhausted. There were just train delays, and we just couldn't get on a train, and we were just masses and masses of people, because every time, you know, people were finishing work and coming in, the station hadn't cleared. You know, we were still there from 5 o'clock. So people who finished work at 6, 7, 8 o'clock were coming in and finding us. And I walked in and I said to my husband, enough now. We can't continue living like this. You know, yes, there was a bad experience, but we just felt we were going to work and coming home. We're on autopilot. When family asked us to come and visit them, they stayed out of London. We'd really have to think about it, because we were on the train Monday to Friday, and that meant getting on the train again, you know, Saturday and Sunday. So, you know, we would go and we'd enjoy the weekend, but we'd come back exhausted. So moving to Malta was a very good choice for us. As I said, I moved in 2015, and then my husband and my son followed, and we haven't looked back. You know, September will be 5 years, and we haven't looked back at all. We really enjoy living here. We find it quite peaceful. You know, you can make it as busy and as stressful as you want. You can go down to the beach and enjoy yourself, or you can go to Patcheville if that's your choice, or you can go to Slima if you want to shop. So you can choose where you want to go, you know, if you want to have the hustle and bustle, or if you just want to have a quiet life. So that's what we liked about it. And the people are very friendly. We soon settled in and found that they were a lot like Zimbabweans. So also coming from a Catholic background, the governments are very similar. I won't go into politics right now. The people are wonderful. They're very engaging. You know, where I worked before, and even now, they will teach you Maltese. They're very welcoming. You know, so we haven't really had any problems here, you know, in Malta. And my son is safe. He feels safe. When he said to me, just soon after we moved to Malta, Mom, I don't have to look over my shoulder as I did in the UK. I was walking in front of him, and that really got me all teary and a little bit upset. But I knew that he was safe. And even if he goes out in the evening, he likes to go and buy his little treats, I know that he's safe. So that is what's been important for us. Even when we moved, we took a reduction in salaries from earning pounds to earning euros. But it wasn't about the money. It was the fact that we had more time together as a family. We had more time individually. I took up yoga. I started training with a personal trainer.
Yes, it's really quality time.
I lost 14 kgs. We'd go down to the beach all the time, and we just had the freedom,
Yes.
Exactly. So that was more important to us than actually earning more money, because the more you earn, the more you can spend. So it was more about the time freedom than anything else, and just knowing that my son was safe.
Yes, exactly. And I was curious. I think partially you already answered. So the similarities between Malta and Zimbabwe, but also I imagine, I think that you are going back sometime. You have been back to Zimbabwe during all these years. And so what are the things that you you cannot say?
Yes, we did go back in. Sorry, say again. Sorry.
No, that I imagine when you go back to Zimbabwe, there's something that you think, I don't like this anymore, or what let you think I don't fit here anymore, as you think?
I think it's just become the way of life, and especially for myself, I've shifted my mindset in a lot of things. And the way we were raised in Zimbabwe, we were colonized by the British. We were raised as Catholics. It was very much the belief of our parents and grandparents and ancestors, and as much as I love that and I appreciate it, I've taken the value from those experiences I had, but I've also created my own, which I will then pass on to my son, and he will then take what is good from me and then pass that on. So sometimes when you go back, we can see that we've shifted in a different way, or we have a different way of thinking. Not that either one is good or bad. It's just with myself being away from Zimbabwe for, it's 20 years now. It's totally different, and things have changed. When we left in 2000, we thought that the country was in quite a bad financial state, and politically as well. And it's just, gotten, quite bad over the years. Zimbabwe is a beautiful place, don't get me wrong, and it has so much potential. The people are amazing. When we went back to Zimbabwe last year for my mother-in-law's birthday, and it's the people that we miss. It's not the fact that you may have potholes, or you may have you don't have clean water, things like that should be normal for any human being. It's a basic commodity. But just being with family again last year was really, really good, because it grounds you. It reminds you of being home. I know when I went back, I was living with my mom as well. That's where we stayed, and I was able to walk into my bedroom that I had as a little girl, or where we used to play with the children outside in the garden. So it brings back good memories. So that's the good thing about touching base and going home again, and feeling the earth of where you were born and raised.
Yes, I remember when we had this conversation at the Women in Business meeting, that sometimes what happens when you go abroad is that you change, and for your family it's difficult to understand, especially if you're coming from traditional collectivistic society, or where you are supposed to follow your parents' advice for all your life, and then you decided to go for an independent and do choices that you were not supposed to take, or become an entrepreneur. And so it's difficult to communicate then, but I think that at the end they trust us, and they respect.
Yes, that's true. Because I think sometimes they may remember you when you were in the country 20 years ago. So how you were thinking and behaving, and your values, your beliefs, or your goals, that's what they could probably remember. Whereas now it's 20 years later, you've totally changed, because you've been exposed to, living in the UK, as a first world country, which has its good points and its bad points. And then you come to Malta. So it's in between as well, where it's very, very progressive at the moment. But having the experience of, being born and raised in Zimbabwe, moving to the UK, and then moving to Malta, we've got this diverse experience that just helps us, grow and develop on a day-to-day basis, and see life from a different perspective. I know sometimes I've seen on social media where Maltese will say, oh, we're known to be loud, or we're known to like our food. And I just want to write sometimes yep, same as us. Yes, same as us, because we've experienced different cultures, and sometimes you don't realize that, food is also important in other countries as well. Or as women, we tend to talk loudly, that's us just expressing, ourselves and being joyous. So yeah, definitely you can see the connections.
Yes, that's good. It's the same for Italians. So for me, it's not the same, even if I come in from the north. Good. Then you also started your like your solo business. You started like as a trainer in January, but then COVID came. So what have been your like personal and professional challenges during this like the lockdown and then now post COVID?
Okay, so in December, I left my full-time job to start up as my life coach business in January, which I did January and February, and beginning of March, where I held a motivational talk in St. Julian's, which I found was very, very exciting as well, on goal setting and building your vision.
Yes, I
And I
remember.
did that in conjunction with
I
Alexander
think
Solomon, who's also
oh, sorry, because you've frozen a little bit. I think it was the last time I went out before COVID, your talk, when I came to St. Julian's.
oh.
The week after, everything closed. So that was my last, like.
Oh, right. Yes. So I had a workshop in St. Julian's, which is based on building your vision and setting your goals. And I held that in conjunction with Alexander Solomon, who is a relationship coach. And then shortly after that, I did engage with a couple of clients, but then COVID, came about, and they were concerned about their jobs. They may have a job loss, or they were worried about their future, or they didn't think that maybe the time was right for them to start a business. And I totally understand, where they were coming from. So I would say that is the impact that I had, where people who were ready to engage and work with me then took a step back because, they may have had their own concerns, which is totally normal. It was the fear of the unknown. And even for myself, my husband himself, he was also a little bit concerned. So I decided in March to take on a job. It was a 6-month contract. I'm still working there. It's I'm really enjoying it at the moment. And the thing about being disciplined about my time is that I work full time. I finish at 4:30. It's a walk away. So I haven't been affected by having to drive to work or having to get the buses. I've heard some stories where, because they don't allow passengers to stand in the bus, that it's then limited. And everybody wants to get to work, so you have this bit of a scramble to try and get on the bus. So I walk to work. So I'm quite fortunate that way. And I'm blessed to have my job. And it was almost just a week after COVID had kicked in as well. So I enjoy working in my job. And then in the evenings, I come home and I work on my coaching business. It's online, so I didn't have the problem of having to move from a brick and mortar and shift it onto an online basis. And you can reach so many people. I enjoy networking with other business women in Malta as well, and that's where I've also met you. But primarily, I speak to clients, in the UK, in America, in Europe, and sometimes in Australia. And recently, I've been connecting with women in Africa. So it's global, and it's people are online and they want to learn and develop and grow their businesses. So I think it's also a good place to be.
Yes. And what about the resources? I think you manage many times time, and I think you can give us like some also like interesting advice on how to use time, especially if you are like working and then you want to start your business, or also if you are like an entrepreneur, and how you can make like the best use of your time, actually, something that you have learned and maybe you can share with us.
Definitely. The most important thing about time is knowing that you can always earn another dollar, but you can never get back another hour. And yes, we all have 24 hours in a day, and it's how we spend our time wisely. And I'm not referring to Beyonce or Oprah. We have lots of people on their teams to help them. I'm talking about us as moms and wives and entrepreneurs who are starting up or even long time in business. So I would suggest initially a quick exercise you can do is to get a piece of A4 paper and draw 3 columns. In the first column, write down all your tasks that you go through in a week, and you probably get 1 to 20. Go full out, write them out. Then in your second column, write down the tasks that you like to outsource. It doesn't matter if you can afford a VA or a social media manager or a marketing manager or a coach. Just write down the tasks that you like to outsource. And then in the third column, write down the tasks that you'd like to do. And you could see it narrowing. So from your first column, you'll have 20 tasks that you've been working on in the week. And then when you can outsource or delegate, it'll probably go down to maybe about 15. And then the things that you want to do. So if you're a trainer or if you're a coach, coach, or if you're a speaker, those are the things that you want to do because that's your passion. And when you realize that there's only a couple of things that I want to do, you start working backwards. How can I manage my time more effectively? So in the morning when my alarm goes off, it goes off 3 times. I take it off to the 3rd time because I snooze it, and I put it in my handbag. I used to, years ago, start looking at social media, but then that gets my head in a tailspin. So I put it in my handbag and that's it, and chances I might not even look at social media until lunchtime. But when I wasn't working in January and February, I'd be very disciplined. I'd wake up in the morning, I would start off with some meditation or a yoga, even just for 30 minutes. I would have my breakfast, and then I'd get onto my laptop and I would spend 30 minutes, sometimes even 29. I would set an alarm. That's it, 30 minutes and I'm off. So I go onto social media. So that makes me more disciplined and knowing that what am I going onto social media for? If I'm going on for business purposes, that's what I'm going to go and look at. Because if you start looking at somebody else's post, if you start comparing yourselves to them, that I didn't get any likes and that person got so many likes and they haven't signed up to my challenge, or, oh, this is an interesting article, or I need to buy a new handbag, you quickly go down the rabbit hole. So you have to learn to be more focused, and it's a habit that you can implement quite quickly. Set your time. I'm going onto Facebook half an hour and that's it. And then also managing your time is before you go to bed in the evening is either through journaling or brain dumping. Write down what went well in the day. Write down what didn't go so well. How and self-reflect. Many times we're quick to blame somebody, and it was because of that person that this went wrong, or I ended up shouting at the driver because he went through a red light, even though you weren't, focusing on your driving. So you analyze your day just very quickly. You don't have to spend a lot of time in quiet time. The children are gone to bed, or hubby's gone to bed, or, just 5-10 minutes. What went well today? And congratulate yourself. You may have only done 2 or 3 things, but that's your done list, and celebrate that. Look at the things that didn't go wrong and what can you change? And then off to bed. And you'll find that your brain is a lot more settled. It doesn't have all these thoughts running through your head. It's not keeping you up at night. Write down also what you want to do for the next day, or before you end your day. If you finish up working at 5 o'clock, just write down a few things of what is it I want to achieve for tomorrow? What is it I want to achieve for the rest of the week? And that's it. When you wake up in the morning, your alarm goes off and you put your phone in your handbag, or you put it on the side of your table, you've already got your list of what you want to do for the day. So when you sit in front of your computer, you're already focused, and focused on one thing. We can only work on one thing at a time. So moving from one item to another is not going to help you. And an hour later, you find that you haven't really achieved anything, and then you beat yourself up. So sometimes I say to myself, okay, I'm focusing on my 5-day challenge, for example. And when I'm finished, I'm going to spend an hour watching Netflix. That's my reward. I say, okay, I'll watch Netflix a bit later. I've downloaded a movie. Right now, I'm going to focus on what I'm doing. So becoming disciplined with your time and respecting time then helps you focus on the activities you need to grow your business, which in turn then helps you to scale your business and bring more money into it.
Yes, I think that is extremely interesting. Like also in other talks, this idea of like being disciplined, or some of us, like we became also more disciplined during COVID or during the lockdown, because having more time at home, also like all the meetings were online, so there was no need to go from one place to the other and use a public transport, and so that really helped like to become more disciplined. But at the same time, also as I was mentioned, also like before we started the talk, I think I'm working more, and sometimes I'm not sure of if I use my time like worthy or in a. So I think the advice of like the social media, I'm trying to, so not look at them in the morning, and also don't look at them before going to sleep, because I want like to focus
Exactly.
and like stressed down by likes, not likes, or something that I should have done. And also like keep a journal with something that you have done, or something that you plan, but not in a stressful way, but more in a planning mode and supportive mode with yourself, I think.
Yes, that's true. And if I could give you just 1 or 2 other tips. We find it difficult, especially as women, to say no, and we feel guilty if somebody asks us to do something. Even though our plates are full, we feel we still have to say yes and take on some more. And by learning to say no without feeling guilty, it will come with time, and people will then respect your time as well, because they know that it's valuable. So the way you behave and the way you manage your time and your money and your energy, other people will pick up on that as well. And that's all part of creating boundaries. when we create healthy boundaries, you might find that somebody will message you, oh, can we chat now? Or you'll phone your mom or a girlfriend and it'll be an hour-long conversation. Don't feel bad and say, look, I can chat to you for half an hour
Yes.
now. Or say to them, look, let's end the conversation and I can call you, on Friday and we can catch up again. Or let's meet up, once we're starting to meet up with people again. So it's being able to say that this is my time, it's precious. I'm not going to get back that hour. We're not saying we're not going to speak to people, but when we become more disciplined with our time, it then rolls onto other people as well. So I find that also quite useful, where I'm able to, arrange meetings or batch things together. So in the morning, if I'm working, I will settle down to send emails. So I might spend 45 minutes just sending out emails. And if I find I'm going to be working on marketing, then I work on marketing. Because when you start jumping from one email, then to social media, then to the VA, then to finances, our brain just says, enough, go and read a book or go and watch Netflix, and we don't realize it. But when we become more focused and we drill down on the activities that we're working on and focus on one at a time, it's in time it becomes easier.
Yeah, that's true. With also another talk, and Irene mentioned on like remote working, it's even more important to set boundaries, because people think that you're always available for like a phone, a chat. Can you do this for me? Can you do that? And no, actually, also if you work remotely, you should be able to like set boundaries, because otherwise you start working at 7, you finish working at midnight, and yes, you also should be able to say no, especially I think during this lockdown. For many of us was also a time where we wanted to like get back to something to the community, and so was also like a lot of or like a different kind of also voluntary work. But then also sometimes you have to say no also at the time, because that is not like maybe it wastes your energy and you're not able to give back as before. So this is also what happened to me. I had to stop because I was kind of I couldn't like give what I wanted to give, because I was like too tired and I was exhausted on like
That's very true.
Yeah, it's so important. Thank you very much. So the last part of the talk is actually can you tell us about like your new 5 days challenges that we start? How can people can reach you if they're interested in connect with you? They can find you on Facebook. I already put like your I tag you, but if you can tell us something more about your new project.
Thank you very much. Yes, I will be releasing details about my 5-day challenge. Will be to build your business while working in your 9-to-5 job, and you can do that during your lunch break. So talking about time management and being really disciplined, I will help you with your business statement. I will help you with your niche, so you know exactly who you're talking to, and then to set your goals and your vision for the future, what you'd like your future to be like. Because at the end of the day, for the majority of women, we want to leave a legacy behind for our children and our families as well. So how are we going to do that then? What are your goals that you'd like to go about and achieve them? So this is aimed at high achieving professional women who work mainly in the corporate environment, in leadership roles, where you're working, full out 12 hours a day. Like you say, with COVID, we're giving more and more of ourselves. As women, we find it difficult to receive. We're more on the giving side, and you don't realize that you're heading towards a burnout. But in the meantime, you have a passion. You want to start your own business, but you're afraid to do so. You're able to lead teams. You're able to manage budgets that are over £1 million. You know how to motivate staff. And when you walk into a room, people are aware of your presence. When you give advice, people listen to you as well. But when it comes to starting up your own business, you're afraid of failing. There'll be that one person who might tell you, I told you so. This is not going to work. Or you think that I will be the sole person who's in charge of my pay at the end of the month. So I will stay in my 9-to-5 job. So if it's something that you're interested in, it's how to build your business on your lunch break. And I'll show you my strategies that I use as well. We also work on your money beliefs, because sometimes we may be afraid to phone a client and ask for payment. Whereas if it's in our day-to-day job, we can phone up and say, that this is the company that I'm working for, and, we're just chasing up an invoice. But when it comes to your own personal life, if you lend a friend some money, you'll find it difficult to go and ask them for that money. And the same thing will come up in your business. So we look at your beliefs around money. We look at your time management in terms of how you can improve it and how you can build your business as well.
Yeah, I think that is really interesting and important. Like I really like that you call yourself like money mindset coach, and especially for women, because yes, like money is something that is so difficult to speak about, especially if you are like a solo entrepreneur, and you have to like be paid for your services because you know they are worthy, but at the same time you are not then able to promote them in the right way and to ask for money for the services you are providing. So I can I went through that. So yeah.
It's true. Well, you find that we offer discounts, and if you're on a call with a client and you're afraid to tell them what your full package is, so you offer them a discount, or you offer them a payment plan, or you tell them I'll give you more bonuses, or if they tell you, oh no, I can't afford, you say, okay, thank you, I'll speak to you soon, and you're like, phew, I'm off that call, but you haven't really done your client any service, because they've come to you and they want your help and your support, and you've got to give them value so that they can see why they will benefit from working with you. Also, sometimes we self-sabotage without realizing it, where we don't want to put ourselves out on social media. So we'll tell ourselves, I'm too busy, I don't have time, I have to see to the children, and I've got to work from home remotely. I've got all these demands that are being made on me. Or I'll create some more leaflets or ebooks in Canva, instead of actually going onto Facebook and seeing how you can connect and add value for your clients. That's another way where we stay away, and we we hide behind our laptops. But it's all things that, and that's part of the money beliefs that we will talk about. It also covers our fears. When we're growing up, we often be told that children should be seen and not heard. So you wonder why you don't speak up in a meeting, or you don't speak up if you at an event, because you've been conditioned that way, that we don't speak up. And I think especially as women, even from different cultures, where we would tend to keep quiet and we let our husbands talk. But when we're in a group of women, that's when it really comes out, and we empower each other, we support each other, and we're able to talk more. So it's about being able to be more confident in yourself and bring that gift out, and help your clients that you want to serve.
Yeah, I think that definitely this comes from culture and also religion. I would say a little bit, especially for like some like religions, like our religion, also the religion we are grow up with like there is like a status for men and then also a status for women, because like the priests, they are all men, and so yeah, like to speak up is difficult for women. But then when they started, I agree with you, like this, I did my dissertation on like feminist theology of liberation, and the idea was exactly that one. So what the women can like get together and support each other, they can really empower themselves, and like also like take roles on like the political level or social in the social field or in the political field, and they can do it.
Yes, that's true.
And yeah, we met in one of this group also in Malta. I think they're really important for us and for Malta, because it's really like empowering and sharing and support each other. And I agree with you. Sometimes there is also fear of expose yourself on the social media, because then if you expose yourself, you can also get criticized, and for sure you will get criticized, or maybe you will get ignored, so you don't like, and so you have to be ready also to stand all of that, or to reply. And so it's also important like to build confidence, and this is also where the support network is important, because I think we help each other to build also our confidence.
Exactly. And the other topic that I will cover in the 5-day challenge, I'll provide you with the details as well, is shifting from an employee to an employer mindset. So when you work as an employee, if you imagine in one of your previous roles, you were given a job description, and you may have 10 tasks that you would have to complete. And even if you go over and above, and go the extra mile, you would continuously, make sure that you were covering all your tasks. Now, when we move to an employer, the thought of delegating it, seems like it's foreign, that I've got to do all these tasks in my business, or the thought that I'm now responsible for my own money, whereas before I worked 9 to 5 and I was paid. But very often we push in our own careers, but when it comes to starting up our own business, we then take a seat back because we're afraid that it may fail. And I would like to just give advice. I'm a new entrepreneur. I'm still learning. I make mistakes, but I'm failing forward. I have had successes, and I celebrate them, and I pat myself on the back. I also get very good feedback and testimonials from other clients. But I know that I'm learning. When I started my job as a PA 30 years ago, I would have had to learn different skill sets, whereas now I can talk about being a personal assistant, give me the mic and I can talk, for hours. So as an entrepreneur, it's something something new. It's a different arena I'm entering. There's social media. You may be daunted by all the different platforms. There's a landing page, there's MailChimp, there's all these automation tools. What is the click sales funnel? I get lots of requests from business coaches. Like, I don't need another business coach. I'd rather just have another friend. So lots of times I don't accept their friend requests. Not that I don't want to make a friend, but I know that they're looking for business. I always go back to, this belief that we have to develop relationships, especially in the work that we do. There's a trust.
Yes.
Trust and like factor. And I was talking to a friend the other day and saying to them, if you think when we met our partners or husbands or significant others, if they asked us on the first date to go home with them, we would have said, no, thank you. I don't know you from a bar blue soap. Whereas they would have been courting you, sending you letters, or, if that is 30 years ago in my case, or, now it's maybe messages, or they're calling you, or they take you to a movie, or they take you to a dinner. That's building the relationship, and you get to know them, you meet their family as well. And it's the same thing, I think, for, if I just put the message out there, for business coaches, don't send me a DM or don't friend request me. And if I do accept it, you come on my page and I can see you obviously looking for business. Connect. I've done it as well. I'll come onto your page and I'll like it, but be genuine about it. You can see people who are only there to look for, they're fishing in your group. You'll soon be deleted. So there's a lot of people that I haven't accepted as friends because of that. Let's build that trust factor, and it may not be today I want to work with you. It may be in a year's time that I want to work with you, because I'm also at a different level in terms of where I am in my business. So it's all about building rapport and, adding value.
Yes.
Some people feel that they can only share, a little bit of their offers. That's coming from a scarcity mindset, and that's what we talk about in the money beliefs. There's enough people on this planet for you to coach. If you work out how many clients you want to work with on a monthly basis, there are enough people that you want to serve and help. So give them the help that they need. Show them, we're 2 steps ahead of them. A few years ago, I was in a situation where I was a perfectionist. I wanted to, have, everything right, and, I'd even delay and procrastinate and send it in at the last minute. I was also seeking validation. And sometimes we do that online. How many likes did I get? Doesn't matter how many likes you got. Did you put out valuable information? Somebody's going to read it. One person might like it and you've changed their life in that moment, or 100 people may like it and it doesn't really mean much to them. So this is where the validation and seeking permission comes in. And it's all to do with our beliefs and the way we were raised, which is not a bad thing. We're just becoming more aware of it and helping, to grow within our business and ourselves.
Exactly. Yes, I think that is extremely true. And also in my case, I know that, like, I don't want to also to give training. I want to give value, and especially when it's about cultures, it's not that I can like give you something in 1 hour. Yeah, I can, but I want also to build with you a relationship, be able to give something to you that is not just a taste of what I can like provide to you.
Exactly.
And I think this is also what is missing in my field. And I'm also working on a program that is not only a train the trainer, but is also a mentoring. And through the mentoring, I want to like support the person that they will become intercultural trainer, and be their support network and help them and have this trust among us, so we can also like work on project together. Because otherwise you just take your certificate and then you work by yourself, and it's for me is not worth. I want to connect with people. I want like to build my team, my community around these topics that I think they are important for us.
And that's very true. You've raised a very valid point, because I remember when I did my coaching certification, there wasn't they touched on the business skills, and they touched on, you can join a group and, learn more with them. But because it was new, some of it was still a bit daunting. And then you also want to, for your own self, it's not so much for the company. It's a great company that I did my training with. You also want to get going with your business. So being able to have a mentor with you, and I'm sure that he has that in his groups. I just wasn't able to find a mentor to work with me. That's very, very important, because you're on this new journey, and it's new, it's daunting, it's scary, but it's also amazing because it's your passion. When you wake up in the morning, you think, this is what I want to do. I want to make a difference. I want to impact. I want to change people's lives, and not everybody is born to be a leader. Some of us enjoy doing it, and we should be able to use our gifts to help everybody. And some people might think, well, actually, that's what I want to do. Or, yes, I'd like to start my business, because we all have a gift. Every single person on this earth has a gift. It's somewhere along the line, somebody told you weren't good enough. That you start believing them and doubting in yourself. And so you stay small and you think, let me stay in my 9 to 5. But I think the COVID situation has just proven a theory that I've had for many years, that even our jobs are not safe. Many people lost their jobs, which is unfortunate. But if you're thinking, I can't start my business because I'm then dependent on myself, whereas I can stay in my 9-to-5 job, you can. But if your boss tells you tomorrow, look, we can't afford to keep you on, you may lose your job. So why not trust in yourself? Because only you can fire yourself at the end of the day. You can decide your hours. You can decide, what time you want to start working in the morning. You can decide, I'm going to work 3 days a week. You can make that choice.
Yes, that's true. And I think it's, again, having someone that can support you and guide you is important, because it's also not easy to be by yourself as an entrepreneur, as we know. And also sometimes it's difficult to delegate or to outsourcing something. So having someone that can guide you is really, I would say, super good. So go find Nazlee on Facebook, and then we'll put in the comment also her Facebook group and challenge maybe, or the website.
Thank you.
We're almost now. The last part
I will
is
do.
the message to your country, or the country that you love, in the language that you love, or one of your languages. So send this message.
Okay, so in Zimbabwe we have 2 languages, and the district that I was born in, we speak Shona. The other district they would speak, Indibele. So I would just to end the conversation is to say Famba Jokanaka. It means walk well.
Okay. Super.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you for sharing with us your experience and insights and tips. And thank you for following us. Thank you, Nazlee.
Thank you very much.
Bye.